Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have been absent for many months, which is nothing new for me. If you've been following over this past year, you guys know that I haven't really been uploading much content, but today I really wanted to share an update on my curiosity cabinet and how it's looking, and I thought this would be a great way to start off a new series here on the channel and to get back into the habit of uploading more. If you follow me, you know I upload every day on my Instagram account, and I'm now uploading TikToks about strange and interesting places to visit. So if any of that interests you, be sure to check out the links in my bio, and I'll be right back. I need to light these candles. Alright, so this is how my curiosity cabinet is looking currently. On the top shelf there, we have my Asian ball jointed doll collection. And as we go down, we have all sorts of goodies in there. So the main focus of my curiosity cabinet is early photography because I am absolutely weak for that stuff. Most of these items are from the 1800s, though I have other items that are a little bit newer. I try to keep this shelf mostly antiques, but of course we have other little things such as our Luna moth friend over there, and little things I have found on my adventures such as little branches that appealed to me, beetles, and even bones that I have found. So the truth is my room is very tiny at the moment, and I didn't really have much room to have a big elaborate collection set up in here. So I just have this one little bookcase and everything is really crammed into there, unfortunately. But I think that it's pretty cool to have a tiny collection of things that don't actually require a lot of space. So I wanted to also apologize. I am filming at night in here. I have so much lighting around me, but it still isn't quite bright enough to really show this shelf, so I'm gonna give you guys close-ups and hopefully that'll be enough light to see everything. So over here we have some possum bones that I found out in the woods. I didn't know what I was gonna do with them, but they actually look pretty darn cool just in an apothecary jar. Over here we have an old piece of door hardware from an old house, and you can still see where it was wallpapered over, which I never understood why people have painted over such beautiful doorknobs. That seems to be a really common thing in old houses. They would paint over them or put wallpaper on them, and I'll just never understand because the details are stunning. I have some cabinet cards hanging up on the back there. And then I have this really cool little mirror that I got at a local oddity shop, and I actually have it facing this poster that I have that I also got at another oddity shop, and this one is about like various symbols from cemeteries. Below this cool little mirror I have a casket plate of a lily, and then on this cool little triangle shelf that I got at Target, I have a few of my early photography pieces. So at the very top there, we have two of my absolute favorite ambrotypes. If you've been following me for a while, then you know about Hilda. She's right here, and that's her sister Helga. And she's just one of my favorite pieces. She is actually a ruby ambrotype, so she's actually on red glass. It looks really cool when I take her out of the case. Back there we have a daguerreotype of a woman, and honestly I think she looks like a beautiful old painting. Then next to her is this gentleman that is an ambrotype on milk glass. I actually bought this whenever I went on my little vacation to Gettysburg a few months ago. He was way too cool to pass up, and the back of the case is actually really exquisite as well, but I don't want to reach over there and risk having everybody fall over because it happens a lot. Next to him I have this really cool baby tintype, and she's all crackled and I love that. And then I have another ruby ambrotype back there of this girl who's super grumpy. In the front here, I have a few more tintypes. And then you guys have seen this a million times. I have this 1870s hand mirror. There is another ambrotype in a case, and I just like displaying the case because I think it's really cool. So here's one of my newer pieces. I got this for $1. It's actually a cabinet card from someone's funeral, and on this funeral flower arrangement there is actually a cabinet card of this guy, so it would have been pretty cool if I could have found both. Next to him is this really cool little beetle specimen I have. And then I have some very early cemetery cabinet cards. So I'm not the only weirdo in history that's been photographing tombstones. So I have this one, and then I have this one, and I've never quite figured out what cemetery this is from. So if you guys can find out for me, I would appreciate that so much. I also have this tintype of these children, and it's super creepy. In the back there, I have an at-rest casket plate, and I'm actually looking into trying to clean this up a little bit. I tried working on it the other day and it didn't go so well, but I am eventually going to do something with this just to make it look a little bit nicer for my collection. If you watched my Oddities shop video, then you guys may recognize this. So in the back there, I have the crown jewel of my collection. This is a post-mortem photograph. It's a cabinet card of a woman, and this thing is huge, and I really love it because the photographer did such a beautiful job with this piece. It's so cool. And then once again, I have more tintypes because I honestly have entirely too many of these at this point. Now for shelf number 2. So this is my favorite shelf because it contains most of my early photography collection, and this is the stuff that I obviously love the most, and most of it's on here. So let's jump into this one. So in the corner I have this photo of this woman holding her baby, and she's actually smiling, which is super nice. You don't see many old photos of people smiling, and that's not because people weren't happy, it's because photography was a new thing and people tended to be really uncomfortable posing for photos, so they look kind of awkward. So I have this really great larger tintype of these two women that I'm just going to assume were sisters or cousins. I've had this piece forever and I love it to death, and I feel like I never do it justice whenever I display it. Then over here I have a few of my ambrotypes. Well, actually this is one of my daguerreotypes, and this one is a real gem. It is in such beautiful condition. It's probably from the 1850s, and there is this woman in there that has an eye condition, and the velvet is just so exquisite. So I have her, and then I have this tintype in a case that has a fairy on it, and this tintype is actually really beautiful. Her necklace is painted on. And then after her I have this incredible ambrotype, one of my nicest pieces, honestly. There's even a maker's mark in there from Philadelphia, and she is just absolutely exquisite. I love everything about her. In the back here I have another ambrotype of this guy, and he has like the creepiest eyes. He is so cool. He was a gift from my friend who also does this stuff, and I really appreciate that one. I have another one of these doorknob pieces back there because it's my dream to own an old house someday that has hardware like that. So I just kind of keep that around to hopefully, to keep myself motivated. So I have all of these pieces laying on this really cool mirror. It was sold to me as a barber's mirror. I've seen people call these pie crust mirrors because of how the edges are beveled. I really like those. So I have all of these tintypes here. Tintypes are something I absolutely love to collect, but I don't really know how to properly display them. Realistically, all of these should be in a book and they should be covered because they get dusty very easily, but I really like just having them around so I can enjoy them and look at them each day. So in the center of this shelf, I have this really cool hand dish. And I always wanted one of these, and I finally got one a while back. So I tend to put little things in it. So at the moment I have 3 little micro tintypes, And in the very back there is actually a cicada skin that I found on a tombstone, and I thought it was too badass to not take home. I have a piece in here that I've owned for over 10 years. It's this match safe of a woman who is smoking, and this is a very special piece to me. I've talked about it multiple times. It has a whole story behind it. And then we have all sorts of little things in there. So in the back, I have this incredible cabinet card that I got for only $1 of these ladies that I believe are from the 1880s. And they have the most incredible dresses on. That girl in the back looks like a witch, I swear. It's amazing. I love this piece so much. They all have like a little flower on. Back here, I'm actually going to bring her closer so you can see her, but I have this incredible ambrotype of this little girl, and her hair is still in there. Isn't that incredible? So over there is Eliza. She's a special type of ambrotype where they removed the background while the image was wet to create a 3D effect, and she definitely has that, hey, I'm a ghost in a frame effect. It's really cool. So I do have a funeral card back there, and I also have another tin type of a lady. So this piece is kind of neat back here. This is Granny, as I call her. So this is actually from the 1850s, according to a friend of mine who is an expert on this kind of photography. And basically a copy of an ambrotype was made, and with that copy they would paint over it. So yeah, I got her for a pretty good deal, not really knowing what she was, and I'm really glad I did now. So back there is my Luna Moth specimen that I actually got off Etsy. And then I have this really cool Victorian silver cup, and I really like it. So I just kind of stuck one of my ambrotypes in there that doesn't really have a case, and I think it actually looks pretty good. Alright, so now on to the new addition to my cabinet. I got this really cool jewelry box around Christmas time at Target, and it's so nice because it looks like it just belongs to this shelf, and it doesn't move around whenever I go to open it. So here's what I have inside. I have this locket that contains a lock of human hair. And this is an old piece. I think I was told that it was probably from like the 1920s or earlier. And it has little clovers on it. Clovers are something I love, so I had to have that. I also have this amazing hair chain in here, and another Victorian jewelry piece, and a little dead moth, because why not? Over here I have some acorns and an opal jewelry piece and a little feather. And I know I have a few other things in the back there, such as this little Victorian buckle and a little Victorian monogram locket, and we'll see what else ends up in here. But I really like this because it doesn't move around at all, which is nice whenever you have pieces displayed on top. So now for shelf number 3, and I really love how this shelf turned out. I wasn't so sure whenever I first started to set it up, but I definitely think this shelf has a good mix of being aesthetically pleasing while also being extremely useful. So this shelf is where I keep most of my cabinet cards, and I'm definitely running out of space for cabinet cards, so I'm glad I was able to come up with this solution. So first on the end here we have this absolutely exquisite 1870s album. This thing is filled with some of the most gorgeous tin types I have ever seen. So many incredible gems in here, and I'm going to be doing actually a TikTok about this album, so if you want to see what's inside, don't forget to follow me on my TikTok page, and all of that information is going to be down below. Also, I'm probably going to do a follow-up YouTube video so we can really go in depth, because there is a letter that accompanies this album, and considering this is the most expensive antique in my collection, it's about time that I featured it. So here we have an ambrotype. Whoa! That happens a lot around here. So here we have an ambrotype of this young boy, and I believe that he probably has a toy in his hand or something. And I've actually opened this case, and inside there is writing that says this was taken in September of 1854, I think. I know it's from the 1850s, and it's amazing. I actually really like this case, even though it does need some restoration work. I love the design on it. It is just so beautiful. So this is actually a tinted ambrotype, and I just think it's really, really cute. Look at that outfit. So what I like about these two being side by side is that you can see how the ambrotypes started to evolve and get a little bit more elaborate, because this one's definitely a little bit later. So there's this adorable little girl sitting in this chair, and I absolutely love her. She's actually another ruby ambrotype. They're so darn cool. So I have some of my pine cones. I kind of have a weakness for pine cones for some reason. I'm not sure how that started, but it's a sickness that just I cannot be cured from for some reason. So I have this really cool paperweight of this family, and I guess they were on holiday somewhere, or vacation as we call it here. And I thought this was really, really cool, and so I just had to have it. So the centerpiece of this shelf is this baby head, and she's all like peeling because she was a restoration project somebody had. She was just kind of sold on eBay as parts, so of course I had to have her, and I love her just how she is. So I actually have her with an antler that I found on one of my adventures, and I think it looks pretty good. So next to her, I have my, I believe it's from 1914. It's this mirror that has Cupid on it. This mirror is absolutely exquisite. I've actually wanted this for well over like 2 years now. It's been sitting in this antique store forever, and I finally just bought it one day because I couldn't stand wanting it anymore. But look at the bottom there. It's absolutely incredible. And then on this side, Cupid's arrow is on the handle. I'm obsessed with this. So at the bottom here, I have some really cool tin types that are just in cases. And then I have this other tin type that's really funny, one of my first tin types. And then I have the best tin type in my collection, which once again, I just don't know how to display this thing. It is massive, and I just feel like I can never do it justice. It is beyond belief beautiful. I got this at an Oddities convention in 2019. So as I was saying, I have these two boxes back here that I keep my cabinet cards in. And these boxes are actually from sewing machines. So I would move the dolly head to show you guys, but I don't want anything else to fall. But basically there's a really fancy handle on this one, and this one has a more basic handle. But they're both made out of tiger oak, which is something I love. And I lined them with this faux fur ribbon, and so it actually keeps the cabinet cards looking nice too. So in here I have all sorts of pieces. Look at this lady, and this was actually taken in Pittsburgh. Nothing on the back of these. Oh, there's actually a name up there, which is pretty cool. Some of these have really elaborate backs, and some of them are really plain. This one still has the lady's name on it. I love the trees in the background. Look at her jewelry. Oh my goodness. This one does have a name. This one I know for a fact has one of the fancier backgrounds. This is one of my favorites. Look at this kid. He's so cute. Oh my gosh. And there's the fancy back. So I am really a big fan of cabinet cards. I think they're just so darn cool. So I have all kinds, and maybe one day I will do a video or a TikTok where I go through some of my cabinet cards and show you guys. So here's another one of my favorites. Oh my goodness, look at her. Could you imagine dressing like this every day? There's all kinds of little goodies in here. We have these little teeny ones. And then we have really big ones in the back that I don't want to try to pull out right now. Also, I have more funeral cards in here. So finally we have my bottom shelf, and this shelf isn't exactly anything to really show off. It's primarily for books, and then I still have this little teacup down here from 1893, I think that says, yes, March 2nd, 1893. And I just kind of have this down here because I don't know where this is going to end up, but this is where I have my very small but beautiful antique book collection. So I'm a big fan of the French artist Gustave Doré, and I've been wanting to own some of his work for the longest time. Well, recently I finally found one of his books, and it's like a dream come true. It's not like one of his big fancy illustrated books, but this one is really cool, and I'm really happy I was able to acquire this because there's actually a few really beautiful pieces in this. So I have one Doré book, and the rest of these are other books from like the 1880s, 1890s. This one's from the 1870s, unbelievably. And this one's really cool. This is a religious book that has quite a few artists in here, including Doré. It's in bad shape, but that just means I was able to get it really cheap. This is probably my favorite book on the entire shelf. This is Wonders of the Universe. And first of all, I mean, the cover of this is absolutely stunning, and I just love reading this one. It is so amazing. Then again, I lied because I think this is definitely my favorite book on the shelf. I mean, I like reading this one the most, but this one is incredible. So down here, I actually have some autograph albums. So these actually have writing in them from the 1880s and 1890s, messages of love and well wishes and poems and funny things and just names that people left each other before we had Facebook walls to write on. Down here, I have some tintypes that my friend shot. And this tintype of this little girl is just kind of floating here. And over here I have just some other books. Like I have this book that's actually signed by Anne Rice. It's pretty cool. I have this little catalog thing from the Mutter Museum that I got whenever I visited there. So yeah, that's pretty much all for that. So I'm still sorting out what I'm going to do with all of my framed pieces. I have an entire stack of just insane things I still need to hang on my wall, and this is one of my recent acquisitions. This is a marriage certificate, like a decorative one, that has tintypes inside. Is that not the wildest thing? And maybe you guys could help me because I am desperate to figure out these people's names. So I know that this lady is named Ethel, but it's kind of hard for me to make out her last name, but I know her name is Ethel. This guy, I need to find his name so I can figure out if these people are buried anywhere nearby, but I swear the name says Benny, and then I thought it was like Ebolt. I honestly cannot figure this out, so if maybe you want to pause it and see what you think, let me know because I really need to figure out what their names are. But is that not so wild? And then behind them, I have this funeral like lithograph. I always wanted one of these, and I finally got one a couple months ago. I got really lucky at a local antique shop. I was not expecting to find this. They were actually about to close. And I saw this there and I was like, no way. It's a really cool piece, and I absolutely love it. I just need to fix it up still and clean it. So Yeah, I try not to buy too many frame things because I just have entirely too many right now and nowhere to put them. So that is all for my Oddities cabinet tour. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to follow me on my Instagram account where I post daily pictures of my adventures into the strange and unusual. And also don't forget to follow me on my TikTok. I try to post a daily video of something strange and unusual. Alright, that's all for now, cuties and ghouls. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!